it's going to be hard for Billy to recruit. It's just crazy. It's really crazy that Lincoln can't succeed. He's literally regionally in terms of where recruiting is. He's on an island, and he's got kids that are very talented that are in his area that should not be leaving to go to Oregon. But to talk about Billy's problem is that he can't get these kids to stay. He's got all these kids to commit. I'm not even really coming in here like getting mad at Florida or getting mad at Billy Napier. Just the guy cannot catch a break. It's great that DJ Lagway stuck around, and it sounds like LJ McCray is good. It sounds like his paperwork came in.
Steve Wilfong reported that something about him putting pen to paper sooner rather than later.
A lot of guys have dropped, as you've mentioned earlier. It's a concern. It is a real massive, massive concern to go all the way from 3 to 15 and for all these kids to flip. Because that means, to an extent, that some of these kids aren't buying your bullshit. And obviously kids are getting pulled away and offered more money, but it's not like Florida isn't coming to the table with money and they're not making similar offers.
This has nothing to do with money and everything to do with Billy Napier getting his ass whipped on the field. I mean,
yeah.
Look, man, there's a reason those kids committed. There's a reason a month ago that Florida had the top three recruiting class in the country. Joe, they just didn't win. And there comes a point, all right, if you're not getting results on the field, teams are going to negatively recruit against you. Mike Elko went into the state of Florida today and got some dudes. He ain't got no business going in there. Year one, he's not even in year one yet, really. I mean, he's been there for 2 weeks. He ain't even been able to go to the dollar store and buy a pack of Underoos, all right? And he's flipping dudes, all right? You know why? Because they still have a better chance of winning than Florida does right now under Napier. Now, Joe, can you say this last name for me? You know how bad I am with last names. The 5-star kid, Xavier Filisami.
Wait, where's he committed to?
He flipped maybe to Texas.
Wait, I want to see if I can get it right. Xavier Filsame. I apologize for mispronouncing that.
All the reason I'm saying that is this, okay? He flipped. These are the guys that over the last month were committed to Florida and have gone somewhere else. This is actually our buddy SEC Mike did this, and so I'm just stealing it from him. The 5-star kid, DB Xavier, the defensive lineman, 4-star Amarius Williams, 4-star linebacker Darvius Hayes, defensive lineman Nazir Johnson, Jamonte Waller, Wardell Mack flipped from there to Texas. Kendall Jackson, the defensive lineman, Isaiah Williams flipped to Texas A&M. Joe, you got 8 dudes that have decommitted or flipped. So, that can't happen. Now, you got DJ Lagway, but I'm going to tell you something. He's not going to start next year over Graham Mertz. It's not going to happen. And the likelihood is that the kid this means nothing for him. There's a strong chance he's going to hit the portal.
Yeah, and I know that.
Wait for another coach, Lane Kiffin. He's going to have to wait for another coach, Lane Kiffin, for him to get there. Now, Lane just signed a contract extension, so we'll see. But
yeah,
Billy's not going to survive this, Joe. I think it's over.
I know it's a little cliche to say that a kid is going to, are we sure this kid's even going to stay? He's going to hit the portal. But I this is one of the few instances I agree with you.
I hate that too, Joe. How many times should we come in here and say how much we hate that take? But are you going to sit here and try?
But I agree with you.
Convince me that that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think the fact that there was so much doubt casted throughout the day, wherever there's smoke, there's fire, that he was maybe going to flip to Texas A&M or maybe USC. With all that happening, I'm sure that there's a possibility that consideration does happen. Look, if Napier gets fired, if he gets fired, I don't think that he wouldn't leave. But the biggest thing here, and I think that as you're talking about the lack of performance on the field, you do have to finish the season strong for these kids to feel good about their futures. At the end of the day, they don't want to go somewhere where their coach gets fired and then they have to. I bet they got negatively recruited. I really do, and I know that it's considered to be an unethical thing to do in the industry. But you think that teams weren't saying like, you really want to go there and then transfer to us in a year?
Oh, dude, they say that to save face to people out in public. Everybody negative recruits. Everybody's talking about how Billy's team was asked this year.
Yes. Yeah.
And here's the truth. Let's just say, by argument's sake, that Billy makes it through half of the season. I don't know how, but let's just say he does. Okay, because if I'm not mistaken, I don't have their schedule in front of me. They kick off the season with Miami. There's a chance that they start 0-1. Joe, the last 5 weeks next year are probably the most brutal stretch in the country. It's not even close. It's not even remotely close. So even if he does what he did this year, he goes in there 5-1, 4-2, whatever, however he does it. Okay, I'm not saying he is, but God forbid he does. He's not going to win the last 5 games on his schedule.
No.
The only way that happens is if Graham Mertz goes just absolutely bananas. And he's not going to go bananas. Bananas.
You're absolutely right. I don't see a world that he sticks around. And we're going to talk about it the whole offseason. The whole offseason about how he's probably going to get let go. That's why a lot of these kids chose not to commit.
Just got a text from my buddy that's watching the show who covers the Florida Gators. He said, "Stop talking about my team like that." Stop. He said, and then he put under there, "Even if it's the truth, leave us alone."
That's funny. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your #1 source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.